Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are back with a new tier list. Yes, this will be a mobile MMORPG tier list for 2023. If you guys don't know me, I make MMORPG content mainly for mobile, and I've been making it for years, and I've been reviewing several games. So we're going to be going through the games that I think are the most relevant today, the games that came out very recently, and games that are still going to be coming out that are currently in closed beta that I have played myself. It won't be like a full review of each game. If you guys want that, you guys can check out my channel, but we're gonna go fast through the list so you guys can get an understanding of which games are good and which games are bad or generic. So let's jump right into it. Make sure you give me a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and let's check it out. So we have here the tier list. So I'll be ranking them from high to low, of course, and I'll be ranking the best games on the left side if they're in the same tier. So let's just start right into it. First all, we have A3 still alive. A3 still alive. I don't even know if this game is still alive, you know what I mean. But A3 is still alive. It had a high population when it first came out. It came from Netmarble. Netmarble, I don't know, for pay to win, but also known for making good games. But this game is a very generic MMORPG overall. No uniqueness of it, and it's getting very old, so losing a lot of population. Putting in generic. Next up is Albion Online. Albion Online is a sandbox MMORPG that is cross-platform. I think, yeah, cross-platform for PC and mobile. And this game is very PvP oriented, but it's overall a sandbox MMO. You can catch up on this if you start now, because the progression is very fair. It's in-game trading, but it's one of the best games in my opinion right now. It gives frequent updates. Game is amazing, well polished. So A3 still Albion Online, great game. Next up we have Revelation Infinite Journey. It's a new MMORPG. Right now it has a C launch. A global launch is not out yet, but I have been playing it. You guys can play it. It also has a PC client. It's a cross-platform game, PC and mobile. So you can play on Android, iOS, and on PC. And it is made by NetEase, but being published by VNG Games. Game is very well made, very well polished. A lot of content in this game. It gives me a lot of like perfect world vibes, DragonRaja vibes, but solid game so far. The pay to win is a lot, and I just feel like it's lacking something extra, and being that pay to win, so I have to put it on S tier. Next up is Adventure Quest 3. Now usually I put Adventure Quest pretty high up, but Adventure Quest is getting very old. It's one of those classic type MMOs, no autoplay at all, and a hard grind. And the reason I'm putting on A and not S this time is because it is losing population over time, and the engine that is built on, the graphics are built on, are getting kind of outdated. But if you enjoy classic MMORPG, Adventure Quest is definitely a game you should check out. Next up is BlessGlobal. Now BlessGlobal came out this year, and there was a lot of hype around it because it had this NFT crypto system and it's a massive big MMORPG. But this game is so pay to win, it's insane. They have like 10 battle passes. I'm not even joking. There's 10 battle passes you can buy every month, which is insane to me. So overall, BlessGlobal, the graphics were outdated. The gameplay was good. There's a lot of content in there, but the pay to win was just through the roof, and it just feels too generic. There's notification pop-ups constantly. You have to click stuff and remove notifications. So BlessGlobal, generic MMO. Next up is a Black Desert Mobile. Black Desert Mobile is an S tier game. The reason for that is it's like the whole MMORPG package. You can play in 2023. It still has solid population. Even though it came out many years ago, the dev and the team around it loves the game. They work on it. They get constant updates. So Black Desert Mobile overall a good MMORPG experience. Hard to catch up, and a little pay to win, but a solid S tier game. Bless Mobile is even worse than BlessGlobal. It doesn't even have full 3D gameplay, so I'm not going to rate it too much. Just going to put it in L game tier, very bad tier overall. Blade&Soul Revolution. Blade&Soul Revolution, I would call it an A tier game. It is, again, it gives you a lot of like generic Korean vibes, but it is polished. It does have a lot of content, so you can enjoy it. But again, another game that's getting older with age. CelticHeroes, I'll have to put it right next to Adventure Quest 3D. Another classic game, no autoplay at all. However, it is also getting very older. The graphics are getting outdated. It's just not like the fun and good experience overall, but still a solid game if you enjoy those classic style MMOs. Next up, we have Chimeraland. Now, Chimeraland, I'll put it 8 here because it is very unique in its own way. But again, I heard a lot of stuff about Chimeraland. I played it myself, but heard a lot about like the pay to win and slow content. But overall, this game is very unique. It's like you can travel planets, you can become any monster you want, a crazy character customization, a lot of exploration. Gives me a lot of like Ark vibes and Rust vibes. So it's a very unique MMORPG. So I'm gonna give it a solid 8. DekaronG, very generic, bad MMORPG. Expected a little bit more of it because it was very hyped up, but it's an L game overall. Next up, we have DiabloImmortal. The reason I'm putting DiabloImmortal on 8 here is because game is very well made. It's well polished, right? It's made by Blizzard and NetEase. They know what they're doing. This game is just too pay to win, and it's just impossible to enjoy the PvP content in this game because of the bigger whales, and you have to spend a lot just playing the game. It is well polished, but they had a massive potential, and I just feel like they didn't live up to the potential, so I have to give it an 8 tier. DKGenesis, same as Dekaron, just L games, generic, very bad overall games. Dragonical, another generic MMORPG, not that good. It was like a decent play when you played it, but it just doesn't have any uniqueness to it or any new creative ways to make it any good. So just a generic game. DragonRaja still going strong today. I would put it, I think Black Desert and DragonRaja are like solid games on mobile because they've been out for a long time. They have a lot of content and they're unique in their own way. DragonRaja has like the anime feel to it, and it's a massive game, still doing good today. And I just feel like these type of games are just here to stay. Even though they are pay to win, they have a lot of content to make up for it. They have a lot of features to make up for it. So S tier games, both of them. EOS Red, L tier game. I think it had like some kind of features like during the nighttime. You could like fight players. It was the Kingdom Pledge. You know what? Kingdom Pledge, you guys can sit right next to each other. These two games are just I think they're literally the same games with the little small differences here and there. So nothing very crazy about that. EternalKingdom Peak, I think this is one of the newer games, another generic MMORPG. Did not enjoy this game at all. I think I put it down there even. It had like, it tried to go for like the classic style MMOs, but it just failed miserably. Like if you're coming out with a game in 2022 and your game looks like it's from 2002, probably don't release it, right? ForsakenWorld Kingdom, it was good for a while, made by GT Arcade Games, but eventually it just became one of those generic MMOs with low population. Forsaken, like the first Forsaken World when it came out, I think they used the name of the first Forsaken World because it was a massive MMORPG, which was amazing, but they could just not live up to hype. It was just too generic. Next up, we have, for some reason, Genshin is here, but since Genshin is here, we're going to put it on W game. You know, GenshinImpact is GenshinImpact. It's not an MMORPG, but it does have MMORPG style to it with the co-op system and everything. But not too much to say about Genshin. It's an amazing game. It's not an MMORPG, that's an RPG, but we're gonna put it here. Even if it is GuardiansofClaudia, I would say an 8-tier game is one of like the solid games. It feels very generic, but it also feels unique in its own way with its style, and I think it just released in a very good time where people were looking for that type of MMO, so it had like a solid player base, but nothing really wow about it. I'm gonna put it like low A tier. So this is where I'm going to place it. Next up is HonorofHeirs. I'm going to put it in generic. It's a new game that came out, had a very hype, was another crypto NFT MMORPG, and I thought it was going to be a good game, but it just felt like any other mobile MMORPG, not very well made. Next up is, which is this game again? LegendofNeverland. I think like Legend of Neverland, like the game itself, like it looked very good. The graphic wise was very nice. It felt good to play. It looked nice, but that's about it. You know, everything else was just generics, but since it looked better, I have to give it an 8 tier. Next up we have is Lifeafter. Lifeafter is a great game in my opinion. It is a survival MMO zombie MMORPG, but it has a lot of features. A massive game. It's unique in its own way. You can like it's like a third-person shooter style MMO, third-person shooter style MMO. You can build houses, you can do raids, you can do PvP. So it is very cool game overall, very unique. So I have to give it A tier, but it is again a very pay to win. So I cannot give it that high tier. Lineage 2 Revolution. What can I say? It was a great game when it released, but over time, it's just milking the players and the fan base. So they've been releasing like so many Lineage 2s now. So I'm just gonna put it in generic. Marvel Future Revolution. I would say Marvel Future Revolution is in S tier. However, recently I heard that the content updates are very slow. It's becoming very pay to win, but it's just, I have to give it S tier because it's just so unique in its own way, where you can be any Marvel hero you want. Like Netmarble hit the jackpot by being able to get this deal going, because you can play as a superhero in an MMORPG. You can design your Spider-Man like you want, you can design your Thor like you want, put different gears on it, put different outfits on them, and play with those characters. So I have to just give it S tier. I cannot not give it S tier. Next up is Mir 4. Again, Mir 4 is also a solid, one of like the best crypto NFT game to date, but the population has dropped. They have released Mir M, but overall I would say it's a good game. You know, it has a lot of features, it feels polished, it feels good, and but it's very hard to get into it. You can buy like NFT characters and play it, but Mir 4 is, I would say, is a very solid game. Moonlight Sculpture, generic L game. Mo Origin, another generic game, nothing very cool. I mean, it was fun at the start, but I just had too high hopes for it, high potential for it, but it just didn't live up to it. NiNoKuni, I would say A tier. Game looks great. It's a very good looking game. But again, these three games next to each other, they look so much alike, and it reminds me of the same game. So yes. Next up, we have Order and Chaos. This game is deleted from the App Store, so I'm going to put it back here. OdinValhalla Rising, I would say, is an A tier game. It might have the chance to go S tier if they make some changes to it, because I played the closed beta. The global launch, if you guys are wondering, is coming out in August or September. But there has been other launches of this, and I have played it. It's a good, decent game. Feels good to play, and I will definitely play when it comes out globally. But it's just, I feel like it's just lacking. The combat is just lacking. There's a lot of combat content of it, but overall just a lacking game. Perfect Worlds, low A tier. I would give it like higher tier, but it's just like, it's too old. It lost a lot of population. It's just not what it was. It used to be a very good game, but it lost all this hype. RuneScape, I would put both in S tier. The reason I'm not putting in W game is because they are originated from PC overall, and they have tap to move. You know, they don't have the option for the joystick, and it's the old school at RuneScape. But both RuneScapes are amazing games, and that's why they had such a long lifespan, because they are great games. So I'm gonna put it at S tier overall. I just think that they're just lacking a little bit to get that W game tier, you know. Next up is Seven Nights. Seven Nights A tier game. It has like a massive gacha with like 46 classes, which is cool and all, and is ranked for some reason top 10 MMO on the App Store, but it does have a lot of like generic vibes to it, so I just cannot give it higher than A tier. A solid middle of the A tier. That's good. All right, let's start with some of the newer games that they have released. We have OathofPeak. OathofPeak is, I think it was like a fun project they had with OathofPeak. It was like a crypto NFT game, but it actually felt good to play, and I actually enjoyed playing it. But it's just like a decent game overall. It's very new, so over time it will fall down in the tier list, but right now it has a decent population, a decent community, and it's fun overall MMORPG to play. So I'm gonna give it like a solid A tier. Next up, we have Summoners War, another, I was put it A tier. Also, A tier is becoming massive right now. Summoners War, again, a good game, very new release. It might have a chance to drop again, but this game was extremely pay to win, so I'll have to give it just an A tier. Game was fun and good. Combat felt fluid, it felt good, but it was just extremely pay to win. Next up, we have StarfallFantasy. L game was another new MMORPG that released very recently. and game just felt it just looked like it was from 2010. You know, it wasn't that good. So I don't advise anybody to check it out. Next up is YeagerHunterLegend. YeagerHunter, I'm gonna give it a high A tier, right next to Chimeraland and Lineage. No, Lineage, Lifeafter. Give it a high A tier because it's a Monster Hunter MMORPG. Like a Monster Hunter game is nice to get that type of game. It's very unique in its own way, but it is very pay to win. If it wasn't that pay to win, I'll have to give it S tier. But it's just lacking in that pay to win aspect, and a fun, enjoyable Monster Hunter game. But Monster Hunter games are very repetitive, so being like an MMO style Monster Hunter game, you can have fun with it, but it's just not that great. Next up is TrahaGlobal. TrahaGlobal used to be W game, now it's dropping down. It's currently, I would say, low S tier, and has probably fall down to A tier. But they're making some good changes to the game, but there's a lot of balancing issues still in the game. But it's a fun right now. If you're trying to get into an MMORPG, it's probably the easiest and best MMORPG to get into right now. TrahaGlobal, S tier game. Oh, well, next up is what is next? Let's look at these games. Sword Dynasty, generic game, came out very recently. Just failed like every other Chinese MMORPGs. So yeah, not very good. And then we have Stella Arcana. I forgot about Stella Arcana actually. Since I forgot about it, I might just give it an L game, because if I forgot you, that means you didn't put a good impression on me. So you're just going on the L game list. ToraM Online, another classic MMORPG. I'll put it next to the classics here. Adventure Quest and CelticHeroes. You know, it's in that bracket. No autoplay, old school style game. You can still have fun with it and enjoy it. But ToraM joins the classic group. Next up, we have another RPG. It's called TorchLightInfinite. I'm gonna give TorchLightInfinite an S tier. I really enjoy the game for what it is. That's why these RPGs, it's not a full MMORPG, it's like an RPG style game, but it's a fun experience. It looks good, gives me like the League of Legends vibes, and overall a great game. But we're not going to talk much about it because it's not an MMORPG. Next up is TowerofFantasy. I love TowerofFantasy still. TowerofFantasy is a W game, one of the best games right now. It's a gacha anime style game though, but the content it has is amazing. It has so much content, so many updates, so much to do. You can adventure in it, you can PvP in it, you can PvE in it, you can build your character in it. So overall, I would say TowerofFantasy is a great experience, and the gacha is mainly focused, the pay to win is mainly focused on the gacha, which means it's not that pay to win. So great game. Next up is Undecember. It's like a dungeon crawler game. I'm gonna give it a high A tier because it's good. It's a good game. Undecember is a good game, but I also heard it's like a DiabloImmortal style game basically, but not as pay to win as DiabloImmortal. Okay, the DiabloImmortal, but with the less pay to win. V4 used to be a good game. Now it's just a generic game. Not much more to say about it. Kind of lost its population, its hype, so it's right down there. World of Kings, I put it in S tier last time, but I'm putting it on A tier. And the reason for A tier is because World of Kings is the only raid MMORPG currently that's fully focused on massive big raids. But it's still getting updates, but they're mostly like reskinned bosses and skills that old bosses have. So it's just like you just not get that full experience anymore. They have like classic World of Kings servers which are fun, but the population is just too low to rank it higher than it is. And then we have this World of Prandis. What is this? Let's jump over this. I think it's World of Prandis. Another classic MMO. I'm gonna put it next to the classic gang. Right here. They are here. The troops. Classic troops. Era of Legend. Another raid MMORPG, but it's not as populated as World of Kings. So I'm gonna put it in low tier. Era of Legends. It was a great game. Had fun PvP. Had fun raids. It was like when I quit Crusades of Light and before I went to World of Kings, I used to play Era of Legends. It was a fun and great game. Villagers Heroes, I would put it as just one of the classic games like Adventure Quest, but it just feels it's a classic MMO, but it feels like it has a little bit of graphics, more fun, more enjoyable, get more content updates than the other games. So that's why it's not with the classics, is up top. I'll put it the highest of the classics. Next up we have is Archage War, which is a new MMORPG that's not currently global yet. But I'm gonna put this game next to OdinValhalla because They're very alike. They're made by the same developers. They look the same, but Odin is more of a PvE game, while Archage War is more of a PvP game. But both games are good. It looks good. Both excited for the global launch on both games. Then we have Avatar, another generic game that launched this year, I think, and it was, again, whatever. Rockland Saga, another game that launched this year. Another one that was just like, you know, whatever. It just feels like they were made in like 2010 and not in 2023 or 22. Then we have Mir M. They're the Mir 4 follower, but it wasn't as good as Mir 4. I'll put it low A tier, and that is because it is a dungeon crawler style game, not full 3D. But they're going with like the same vibe as Mir 4. But Mir 4 will still be the better game. It's a well-polished game, but it just couldn't deliver in my opinion. Next up we have is Sword Dynasty, generic MMORPG. Gonna put it right here. Oh yeah, do I have 2 Sword Dynasties? I just realized. Yeah, I do. You don't need another one. So that is it for the tier list. As you guys see, we are losing. We don't have many W games right now, but if you guys have been watching my channel, you guys will know that there's a lot of good 2000 games coming out in 2023, which might top the W list. We have Night Crows, we have Thrones of Liberty, we have Taris Land. A lot of good games coming soon, and when they come out, I will put them in the new tier list. But this is tier list for 2023. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys are missing any games, let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with my list? You're allowed to disagree. Let me know also in the comments below. I think this is a solid list. If you guys want to check out any of these games, check out the games that are A tier and higher, because everything that is lower than A tier are overall bad games in my opinion. Everything A tier, they are playable, and higher, so check out those games if you guys haven't. But that is it for my tier list of 2023. I hope you guys enjoyed. Give me a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, check out this video right here, and I appreciate you guys' support, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.